Greetings, I am Pillar Nexus, the Ancient Gladiator, today with Pillarless Tabletop games. Also, this is being combined with a Watch Me Play It solo session. Today's game is Pandemic Fall of Rome. In this game, there are 5 barbarian tribes, each with their own migration path through the Roman Empire. Meanwhile, you will have your various characters to work with and Roman legions to fight with, and you will actually roll dice for. I'm trying to figure out how many other of the alternative pandemic types use dice, but this one using dice is an interesting thing. You'll be trying to keep them from gathering too much in one place for a given tribe. You're going to try to keep them out of Rome, and you're going to try to forge alliances that will give you the power to turn them into new legions and help fight back everyone else. The goal is to complete all 5 alliances, or in any combination, complete alliances and completely remove the remaining types from the board. So, for example, let's say you had the alliances of the Vandals, the Huns, and the Anglo-Saxons and Franks. If you could clear off all the Visigoths, the white cubes, and all the Ostrogoths with the blue, then that will give you the victory. This is a very peculiar approach, and it's precisely why I picked it up and why I'm probably going to keep it, unlike the other version. So yeah, start of the game, each player will have one of these 7 roles. Vastalis, Magister Militone, and others. The Mercator, if you are playing solo, is left out of the game. And in fact, you'll use the green pawn as a reminder of which character's turn it is. Otherwise, you'll be taking your card and your pawn, and you'll be starting with a number of cards. The the greater the number of players, the fewer the cards you'll start with. In a solo game, you will have a hand of 3 cards. Your hand is drawn before events are added. The more players there are, the more events will be added to the deck after everybody draws their initial hand. If you're playing solo, you get your single hand of 3 cards that will be split between your rolls. You'll also have a treasury of cards that you can pull from or add to with the plot action. There is no limit to your treasury. Otherwise, in any either normal or solo, your maximum hand size is 7 cards. So as part of the setup for the game, alongside with the player draw, shuffle, and events and such, you'll set up the initial migration moves for the barbarians. First, you'll need to set up the deck of the cards with the black border that shows where barbarians will migrate into, or the furthest extent to which they will be able to migrate. Then you'll need to set aside the following cards. The red bordered cards with Rome go into the discard pile immediately. The gold bordered cards are shuffled. They are the same 9 cards every time, so there's some predictability there that kind of helps with strategy. The first 3 cards you draw will each get 3 of that color. The next 3 will get 2, and the next 3 will get 1. Basically, classic pandemic setup in that regard. And then those cards will also go to the discard pile. The invasion marker, invasion rate marker will be set to the far left here. The decline marker, basically the outbreak equivalent, will start at the top here. And then after the deck's been set up, you will divide up the deck into an equal number of piles for the number of revolt cards that will be featured. The standard difficulties for the game are 5, 6, and 7 revolt cards, which is higher than usual pandemic. But there's an alternative mode that will allow you to drop it to 4, which we'll get into later. The various events that may come into play will feature both playing it normally or playing it corruption, representing, the ways that, you know, things can happen in Rome with, shortcuts and other deals that end up screwing things over in the long run. But for the short term, it might be necessary. But those will cost decline to do so. If playing solo, the do at dusk card is left out. And if one of your rolls is the Vandalosis, the leftover events will be shuffled and made a stack for her to draw from. Legions here, leftover forts will be set aside. One fort always starts in Rome, so you can always go there and recruit. You can build other forts as well, just like the stations in regular pandemic, but there's no fast move between them normally. It may require an event card or something along those lines. So let's get into the actual playing of your turn. So you will draw 4 or you'll do 4 actions, then you'll draw 2 cards, and then you'll invade cities. Classic pandemic. So what you can do in this game. First action is to march. 1 to 1. Adjacent city to adjacent city. You can follow any line, even whether it's a migration path or not. When you move, you can take up to 3 legions with you, which you might want to do to go fight. Your second second option for action is to sail. Discard a city card to move from a port city to a different port city. The card's color must match the color of the destination, and you can take legions with you. So let's say I wanted to move from this port city over to this port city, or this one, or even Rome. That would take a flat card for, well, really any card for Rome. Black, white, and blue gets up here. Black and white gets up here. Or I could use my orange card to get up here if needed. So match the color of the destination to sail. Fortify. This card, the matching city card, which is probably what I wanted to do first here, to build a fort. That fort is how you recruit. I think if I'm actually seriously playing this turn, though, I'd probably do the remove 2 legions effect to build a fort instead. Forts stay in play until cities get sacked. Recruit army. So let's say I use okay, let's demonstration purpose first. Let's say I've got the fort here. What I can do is recruit a number of legions at that fort equal to the current rate. So I believe it'll add three new legions. Or I have the rules screwed up and it's only up to 3, and if anything's already there, it doesn't happen. As add legions. Yeah, you actually do add it. It would be kind of a that would be a rough challenge to try out one of those things. It's like you don't get this many. You get legions until you have that many. So I already have legions here. But no, thankfully it's a merciful get that many legions. That way I can leave some behind and go move and fight. Right. So I'm moving here for the next action, battle. For every legion with you, roll that many dice. For every cube symbol, you'll eliminate a barbarian of any color. I'm gonna keep those nearby for later. They'll return their supply. For every legionnaire symbol, they will die. You might also roll the little eagle, which will provide the special of that character. So for this character, if in a city with a fort, remove 2 barbarians from your city. Different characters will have different ways of making use of that symbol. Put this back now. All right. Plot. It's the exchange rule from Pandemic. Either you give somebody the card of your city or you take that city card from them. With solo play, the treasury is what you will exchange with for plotting. So let's say you have a card you really need to make sure you'll have available later, but your hand limit's getting clogged up. Your hand's getting clogged up and your limit's getting close. You can probably put one away for later. That way you don't have to worry about losing it. Next is Forge Alliance. Just like finding the cure, you'll need to have a number of cards of that color in your hand. And then you also have to be in the city containing that color. This is different from Pandemic in the sense of you don't have to be at the station, you have to be where the disease, where the cubes are. That's another reason to probably use the treasury and have that available for later. The only thing is, even if, let's say you do Forge the Alliance, they will still migrate, they will still fight. They will still be a pain in your ass because Alliance Alliance is a fuzzy thing for for that purpose. But in spite of that, the Alliance provides one special advantage. The last available action you can do is enlist barbarians. Where you are, where you have a barbarian with an alliance, you can replace them with a legion. Very useful if you've got the alliance with one tribe and there's another tribe there. Your next action can be battle and possibly do away with that. That is going to be a key strategy going forward. There may not be enough legions in the supply, so you place as many as possible. If you ever need to place legions and you can't, then you can't. If you need to place a fort and you can't, you can move one from somewhere else. Regardless, after you're done doing your actions, you will draw 2 player cards. And right away, we have a revolt. So the cards you draw will go to your hand. Where'd it go? So I actually would have drawn the revolt first. Draw the two cards together. So I'll get the card first. Then we'll resolve the revolt. Just like the epidemic from classic pandemic. Increase the rate. It'll eventually lead to less legions and greater invasions. Revolts. Draw the bottom card. It's again classic. So Constantinopolis. We'll have a sudden outbreak of Visigoths. And then shuffle all those cards and put them back on top of the deck. So if you remember the way the game started, they're going to try to move towards Rome. They're going to at least build up pressure on the furthest borders, and they're going to try to reach to some other places as well. Every tribe's got their own migration path, which will matter. They'll hit different spots and it'll make things really difficult. Yeah, those will be shuffled and such on top. And then, if I remember for the setup later, I know exactly how this goes. Okay. And then after drawing the cards, there will be invade cities. So one at a time, as many cards as are from an invasion. So what they'll try to do is invade that city. In order to invade, they're going to have something adjacent to it. If they don't, follow the migration path back until you hit an empty place where there's someone that is in the space before it. You'll add one to that new space. Invasion 2, so they will try to invade here. They can't. So here, here. So that'll get invaded. Trying to get closer to Rome. Again, like classic pandemic, you will hit a point where at some point there will be a fourth cube added to a city and it will get sacked. When that happens, move the decline marker down 1 and put a cube of that color in each adjacent city. So from here, we go here, we go here, we go here, and that's as far as I go. It's possible to set off chain reactions as well, which will again make the decline marker move down. It won't add stuff that's to the cities that have already gone sacked, but depending on how far it's reaching, it may run you out of cubes. But after you're done invading cities, you'll end your turn. The player to your left will take their turn. Again, if you're playing solo, you'll move from left to right, cycling through your rolls until you get through the game, one way or another. So, the game can end a number of ways. Either you have the combined alliances and cleared barbarians off the board, or you have all 5 alliances. Or if you are massively efficient at pulling it off, wiping all the tribes off completely. Good luck with that, though. How you lose the game. If you run out of cubes for a tribe and you need to put some out there. If the decline marker drops all the way to the bottom. If Rome gets sacked. If Rome is sacked, that is the end, period. Rome has fallen, as the game title implies. You're trying to avoid. History notwithstanding. And finally, running out of cards to draw. So, why do I like this game? Because messing with history is fun. And it's kind of interesting to see Pandemic take the kind of war game like approach to it. It's just really unusual seeing the Pandemic engine used this way. But then again, there was an older game that I think was called Defenders of the Realm or something along those lines. That was basically Pandemic, but you also had to fight dragons and stuff. So it's not entirely that far fetched of a concept. But also, there's just something about Roman history that just has been reaching out to me more and more lately. So that's what we got here. So where's okay? So I'm going to continue this with the watch me play it solo session. Let's put the cards that needed to be in here back in here. Let's put those back. Okay. This should be 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, and 2, 1, 1, and 1. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna leave that set up the way it is. Going to make sure these are shuffled. I'm going to take back the one card that I drew. And the revolts. Take this and the top 6. Remember right, if I'm remembering how it was divided up. Because I think there's a pile of 9, 9, 9, 8, 8. So what left? Let's hit 10. So we'll draw 2 more. And we'll shuffle this. And the revolt is going to be in there somewhere. And hopefully I haven't completely screwed up the odds. Here we go. Alright. So I got my characters. So let's talk about the characters I've got for this run. Praefectus Fabrum. As an action, remove 2 legions from your city and add a fort to it. Which is what I wanted to do. Didn't want to cause too much confusion though. As an action, discard a city card to either move from a city with a fort to any city, or move from any city to a fort. You can take up to 3 legions with you. And it can be any city card. Their special is if in a city with a fort, remove 2 barbarians from your city. So that's something I forgot to cover. Uh, when barbarians go into cities, or yeah, they're looking for. Do you have it? Do you have anyone there at all? If the answer is yes, then their next question is, do you have a fort? If the answer is yes, you lose 1 legion. If the answer is no, you lose all the legions. That is an ambush. All right. The next character is the Magister Militum. For all the historical info they provided for the tribes and the migration and alliances and all that, I wonder what the historical context is for the roles they went with. Anyway, when you do the battle action, reduce the number of legions you lose by 1. There's a reason why. That's part of my. Okay, so once again, I've continued to forget stuff. The first player in player order for the regular game is whoever can pull the card, whoever has the card that puts them the furthest distance away from Rome in terms of days. Like Letitia is 29 days. Rome would obviously be 0. But that player would go first. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, when you do the battle action, reduce number by 1 for losses. And their special is remove 2 barbarians. They they get to fight extra hard. And finally, there's the Vandalosis. Stack all unused event cards face down to form the event deck. At any time, discard a city card matching a color of your city from your hand to draw one card from the event deck. Oh yeah, there's another thing. Pay attention to the number of cards of that color, because you may end up in a position where you screw yourself out of being able to make an alliance. So you'll have to resort to violence. Yeah. And then during the draw two players step, you may draw three player cards and put one of them back on top of the deck. Their special is remove one legion from your city. So she's exceptionally vulnerable, but her ability is powerful. What you might end up doing is maybe moving her to drop legions off of someone who can then move them around. But yeah, it's kind of interesting that she's, I don't know, more vulnerable target. Kind of, I'm kind of curious as to the logic in that one. I guess it's to counterbalance her powerful ability. All right. So here's how I was going to do my initial turn with this setup. All right. So action number one: remove two legions from your city to add a fort to it. Action number two: recruit. I spent two legions. I got three. Action number three: bring legions to location. And action number four: fight. Or action number three: save the Lucia card. Then action four: maybe I didn't think this through as well as I would have liked. Could discard something and fly over to another place. Fly over to Rome. Or we could just move and then battle next turn. And that's, I'll have to remember, come back here and get that card back when I'm trying to do an alliance with Warren. Alright, so draw two. So Nova, Carthago, and Logan Jassim. I'm gonna have to ask our one history guy if he like remember for guidance on pronunciation. The thing, this kind of history is like up his alley, among others. I think it's trying to think. It's like more like the Napoleonic stuff and all that. So I have to be shuffled back in. All right. But then again, it's not much for cooperative games. So drawing our cards, invade cities. Invasion number one, Aquileia. So this way. Who goes there? All right. And second thingy. Thingy is down here. So we follow it back. Bounce. Alright. So that's invasion, and now we're to Magister Militum. Going to go ahead and discard Constantinopolis. And we'll have a fort there for later. Second action, we will we'll go over here. Third action is to battle. We only get 2 dice though, because we only got 2 legions. 2 cubes, go away. Alright. So it's fort, move, fight. Fourth action is going to be to move back and see what happens next. Or move down here and anticipate what's gonna will happen. So 2 cards. Oh, we got a revolt. All right. So increase the invasion rate. Draw the bottom card. Bottom card is it is one. Letitia gets 3 Huns. They showed up out of friggin' nowhere. And then all those cards go back in. Oh boy. So the moment I need a 4th green cube there, that fort is gone. Alright. And then we will have our invasions. Hold on. And there we go. One more shuffle. Measure. That's revolt number 1. And invasion time. For crying out loud. Well, first off, that fort goes away. Fine happens. And gets there, 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 and there. Ow. And second one. Sure comes. It's one of the opening moves. Okay. Well, this side of the board is in deep. Uh, and now over to Vandalosis. So, might want to have another fort nearby. So we'll go ahead and our initial move, discard Narvo and build a new fort here. We can get to someone can get to here and pull that card, or we can go to Roma and pull the green card and try to set up for that alliance. But where I'm at right now is I've got 1 orange card. I've got 2 in the pocket here in the treasury. So as a second action, we'll take Well, we'll try to get up to Letitia. Third action, we'll go here. And then fourth, we'll go ahead and fight, just to try to keep some of this managed. There's a Legionnaire. There's my other Legionnaire. Great. Way to go. And then after that, rolling turn, we get Headfairy and Chingy. All the colors. We need like more of the same to set up the alliance. And then we made Roma from green. Migration path. They're here. One goes there. Second, Roma Vandals. Starts here and it goes to the check here. There's one here, so one goes there. Oh boy. And then it's back to Praefectus Fabrum. And this is already off to kind of a wild start. I I may just have to deal with the rest of this off video, probably due to interruptions, unfortunately. And also, if the video gets too big, it becomes a real pain to upload. So, wish me luck. I'm gonna try my best to see how well I fare against this. One thing I have not covered is a special optional rule called Roma Caput Mundi. The law of Roman legions cannot enter Roma. There's no fort there, and also you can divide the deck into four for four revolts instead. If you're dealt a Roma card and choose to start the game in Roma, you can choose to do so, but you won't get the two legions. Yeah, yeah. Setup, you'll reveal one of your, the cards that you have to choose from for actually setting up. So I have completely gotten this all out of order. Yeah, we'll look at the city cards you have in hand after preparing the deck. The player, let's see, be the player with the first. Okay, where's the actually starting in a city? Right. Each player chooses one of their starting. So the starting hand you've got will you get to choose one of the cards, and that's where you start. When playing solo, the three cards you get are where each of your rolls starts. Period. And wherever you start, you'll start with two legions. But if you do the Roma Caput Mundi, then you don't get the legions if you start in Roma. It'll make the game a lot trickier, not having an immediate way to defend the city. But that's a challenge I want to check out on my own. So yeah, it's just a really interesting approach, especially when the dice decide it's time to screw you over. So I'm gonna finish the rest of this game, and I will let you know how it goes. All right, thanks for watching. This has been Pillar, and I'll see you next time.